Students, this is Princeland, handling database management system, assistant professor, Perry Institute of Technology, second year, fourth semester, regulation 2017. Today I am going to explain you unit 3 transaction of topic deadlock. In this video I'll cover what is deadlock and how to handle deadlock and prevent deadlock and detection techniques. First, let me explain you what is deadlock. It is a situation in which two or more transactions depend on something. So here I have given the example transaction T1 and transaction T2. It holds the log on the student table. Transaction T1, it holds the log on the student table, and it also requests for the resource from transaction T2 grade table. In the same situation, transaction T2, it holds the log of grade table, and it also requests for the resource from transaction T1 resource, that is student table. So in this scenario, T1 it also wants to update the grade table, and T2 it also wants to update the student table. So simultaneously, transaction T2 holds the log on those rows in the grade table but needs to update holds the log on the grade table and needs to update the student table. Now the main problem arises. Transaction T1 will wait for transaction T2 to give up log, and similarly T2 will wait for transaction T1 to give up a log. As a consequence, all activity comes to a halt, remains to a standstill forever unless the DBMS detects the deadlock and aborts one of the transaction. So now I'll tell you what is the definition of deadlock. Deadlock can be formally defined as a system is in a deadlock state if there exists a set of transactions such that every transaction in the set is waiting for another transaction in the set. So you call the situation as deadlock. There are four conditions for a deadlock to occur. So first condition, mutual exclusion condition. There must be at least one resource that cannot be used by more than one process at a time. So here process P1 is allocated to only one resource. So this resource should be used by only one process at a time. Then there must be at least one resource that cannot be used by more than one process at a time. So this is mutual exclusion condition. Next one is hold and wait condition. There must be a process holding one resource and waiting for another. So here process P1, it holds the resource R1, R2, and it also requests for the resource R3 from process P2. So this is hold and wait condition. Next one is no preemption condition. A resource cannot be forcibly taken from a process. Only the process can release a resource that is being held by it. For example, process P1 is allocated with the resource R1, and it also requests resource R3, which is allocated for process P2. Now only the process P2 has to release the resource R3, and it has to be provided to process P1. This process P1, it cannot forcibly take this R3 resource from this process P2. So you call this condition as no preemption condition. And the last condition is circular wait condition. So there must exist a set of processes, that is P1, P2 till Pn. Here P1 is waiting for P2 and P2 is waiting for P3 and so on. So this is a circular wait condition where one process will be waiting for another, that another process will be waiting for another process. So together you call it as a circular wait condition. So these are the four conditions for a deadlock to occur. Deadlock can be handled using two techniques: deadlock prevention and deadlock detection and deadlock recovery. So first we'll see deadlock prevention method. For a large resources, this deadlock prevention method is suitable. A deadlock can be prevented if the resources are allocated in such a way that deadlock never occur. So DBMS analyze all the operations whether that particular transaction can create deadlock situation or not. If the transaction it creates a deadlock situation, that transaction is never allowed to be executed. Now let's see two techniques used for this deadlock prevention. First one is wait die and second one is wound wait. First I will explain you wait die scheme and wound wait scheme. Wait die scheme. In wait die scheme, older transaction waits and the younger is rolled back and rescheduled. That is, younger transaction dies and then it is rescheduled. In wound wait, older transaction rolls back the younger transaction and reschedules it. So this is about wait die and the wound wait scheme. I'll explain you in detail with the tabular column. So this is the scenario where the transaction which is requesting the log and transaction which has the log, and what happens in the wait die scheme and wound wait scheme. Transaction requesting the log. So first we'll take the transaction T1 with the timestamp, and T2 which has the log with the, and it also has the timestamp. In wait die scheme, T1 waits until this T2 is completed its transaction. So once the T2 completes its transaction, it releases its log. Until then, this T1 will wait. And in second scenario, transaction T2 has some timestamp and T1 has some timestamp. Now T2 is requesting a log from T1. So in this scenario, what happens in wait die scheme? T2 dies, that is, it is rolled back. It is rolled back with a reschedule using the same timestamp later. So now we'll see in wound wait scheme the same scenario, T1 and T2. T1 is requesting the log from T2. T1 preempts, that is, it is rollbacks T2. T2 is rescheduled using the same timestamp. And in the second case, that is T2 is requesting a log and T1 is owning the log. So in this scenario, T2 waits until T1 is completed and T1 releases its logs. So this is wait die and wound wait scheme between the two transactions. So this is the example. So here T1, T2, T3, T1 and T3, it requests a data item from T2 where T1 has the timestamp 5 and T3 has the timestamp 10. So the timestamp of T1 is lesser than T3. So you call this T1 as older transaction and T3 as younger transaction. So here timestamp of T1 is less than timestamp of T3. So T1 is older than T3. So now T1 is made to wait while T3 is rolled back, that is, it is rescheduled later with the same timestamp. So this is about wait die scheme. So next we'll see deadlock detection. So deadlock detection is done using wait for graph. Wait for graph. So in this method, graph is created based on the transaction and their log. If the created graph has a cycle or closed loop, then there is a deadlock. The wait for graph is maintained by the system for every transaction which is waiting for some data held by the others. The system keeps checking the graph if there is any cycle in the graph. This graph consists of a pair G equal to V comma E where V is the vertices and E is the set of edges. V is a set of vertices and E is a set of edges. The set of vertices consists of all the transactions in the system. So let's consider the example T1 and T2. So initially T1 reads a value of A and T2 reads the value of A, and after some time T1 writes the value of A and it reads the value of B. T2 writes the value of A and T1 writes the value of B. So now we'll draw a wait for graph for this scenario and check for deadlock. So we'll use three rules for designing the wait for graph. So first rule, if T1 has read operation and then T2 has write operation, then draw an edge from T1 to T2. If second rule, if T1 has write operation and then T2 has read operation, then draw an edge from T2 to T1. And the third rule, T1 has write operation and T2 has read operation, then draw an edge from T1 to T2. Let's draw wait for graph. So step 1, you have to draw vertices for all transactions. So first, there are two vertices, that is T1 and T2. Step 2, we have to find the read-write pair from two different transactions reading from top to bottom. If such a pair is found, then we'll add the edges between corresponding directions. So for example, so here T1 has read of A and T2 has write of A. So we'll take this pair and we have to draw the edges between these two vertices. So T1 has read operation and T2 has write operation. So you have to draw the edges from T1 to T2. This is step 2. And step 3, T2 has read operation and T1 has write operation. So we are going to draw the vertices from T2 to T1. A cycle is detected in the wait for graph. There is no need to further process. So a deadlock is present in this transaction scenario. So by using this wait for graph, deadlock is detected. So these are the different deadlock prevention and deadlock detection and recovery techniques in Unit 3. Thank you.